Left side.
Ladies and gentlemen, the ceremony will begin in 5 minutes. Please silence all cell phones and electronic devices at this time.
Good job.
Please rise for the entrance of the official party and remain standing for the playing of the national anthem and invocation.
Won't you join me in prayer? Lord, our hearts are full this morning as we gather to witness and celebrate one of the most significant moments in the lives of these soon-to-be officers in the United States Armed Forces. In just a short while, they will raise their hands and swear their oath, ending in "So help me God." And that's our collective prayer for these men and women, that you would help them, God. Help them in their deepest times of distress and need, and in their times of greatest success. Help them to be leaders of consequence and honor. Help them to embody the character and resolve and faith that has sustained them to this point. And may the men and women they lead, entrusted to their care, see it and seek to emulate it. Help them, God, to be compassionate and empathetic, but also fair and demanding of excellence. And above all, we ask that you would help them to live out the spirit of the oath they are about to take, not only for their families, for their loved ones, and for all the citizens of this country, but for you. For it's in your name we pray and ask on their behalf, so help them, God. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, the 15th Superintendent of Virginia Military Institute, Major General Cedric T. Wins.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. All right. On behalf of the Board of Visitors, Brigadier General Terry Jajuric, Commandant of Cadet Corps for the Virginia Women's Institute of Leadership, VWIL, at Mary Baldwin University, and to the entire VMI community, I'm pleased to welcome you and those who are receiving commissions today, their proud families and friends, and members of the VMI faculty and staff, and to the other members of the VMI Corps of Cadets. Today's ceremony marks the culmination of 4 or more hard years of hard work by each of you, and you are on the cusp of graduation. It also marks the beginning of a life of service in the tradition of those who freely volunteered to help found our nation. We know the principles of liberty, freedom, and democracy are worth fighting for. Your choice to serve is part of the fulfillment of one of the central purposes of the Virginia Military Institute, the preparation and education of citizen soldiers. To those commissioning today, this ceremony will likely be one of the most memorable moments in your life. I want to start first by recognizing the people who have helped our cadets get to this point. In particular, the faculty, the staff, the parents, the grandparents, the guardians, and the other guests who are here today. You have provided the support and encouragement that has helped these cadets achieve their goals. Every successful cadetship is a testament to the hard work of many people. We want to say thank you for your undying commitment to these young men and women. Thank you. VMI produces more commissioned officers than any other school in the nation outside of the federal service academies. This doesn't occur by happenstance. It is a result of the hard work and dedication of our professors of military science and their staffs, many of whom are with us here today. I would like to express our deepest thanks to them for their inspiring work in teaching and mentoring these young men and women who are commissioning. You've played a crucial step in preparing them for the many challenges that they will face in the future. Thank you. I also know there are many veterans and those currently serving who have served in the military who are here in attendance with us. I ask that you all stand. We want to express our heartfelt welcome and thanks for your service. You've set an example for these graduates that are now here to emulate and follow in your footsteps. So if you are a veteran, current or active duty, or retired from military service, would you please stand and be recognized? Since the founding of VMI 186 years ago, our cadets have always stepped up to serve our nation. Our country has endured many conflicts, near and far. At the end of each one, we always hope that it will be the last one and that peace will prevail. However, this has never been the case. As we speak, the world continues to evolve, and dangers persist in many parts of the Middle East, Asia, and Eastern Europe. Very soon, many of you may join other alumni serving in places like Germany, South Korea, and North Africa. Others will fight against threats that are harder to pinpoint, but just as dangerous, such as cyber and terrorist attacks. But make no mistake, we must be vigilant and maintain a strong defense force. These threats will continue to test our resolve and challenge our way of life. We must have a strong military that is led by forward thinkers who are highly educated and grounded in character. As I look out here today, I see future leaders who are ready for this challenge. I feel confident and hopeful for your future and the future of our nation because during your time at VMI, I've seen what you all are each capable of doing. The conditions you will face will demand adaptability, competence, wisdom, and courage. Cadets, you have developed a firm foundation based on these skills here at VMI. There's no doubt that you will be challenged, but that those adversarial conditions have prepared you. It is your turn to take these skills and put them to good use. When I graduated many years ago, I made the decision to commission and go on active duty as a field artilleryman. And just like you, I was sworn in as a young officer, directly responsible for the well-being and readiness of others. My life was soon filled with exciting missions, tough training, rapidly changing responsibilities, and assignments around the world. I got to attend some of the most outstanding military schools and serve under many remarkable leaders. Above all, I became part of a great team of soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and service families. You too will come to cherish these experiences. So I want to personally congratulate each of you on pursuing and maintaining your commission. Reflect on why you embarked on this mission of service. Take heart knowing you are following in the footsteps of many great people who have gone before you. Our country is fortunate to have citizen soldiers and leaders like yourselves. Good luck to each of you in the years ahead, and by all means, please stay in touch. We are all very proud of you. Ladies and gentlemen, we are fortunate to have with us today Lieutenant General Carl Gingrich, the Deputy Chief of Staff, G8 of the United States Army, who is going to serve as our commissioning officer. General Gingrich commissioned from Temple University in 1989 as an armor officer with a degree in civil and construction engineering technology. His first assignment was with the 11th Armored Cavalry Regiment in Fulda, Germany. He went on to serve at Fort Stewart, Georgia, and at the Army Officer Advanced Course at Fort Knox, Kentucky. After leading tactical formations, he embarked on a career in Operations Research Systems Analyst, or ORSA. His operational experience in those roles included roles in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom and as Deputy Director, Chief of Assessments during Operation Enduring Freedom. General Gingrich's career has included work as a fellow with the Brookings Institution, Command Control Communications at Aberdeen Proving Ground, and the Director of Capability and Resource Integration for the U.S. Cyber Command at Fort Meade. Most recently, he served as the Director of Programs Analysis and Evaluation, also in the Office of the Deputy Chief of Staff, G8. General Gingrich holds a master's degree in industrial engineering from the University of Louisville, as well as advanced degrees from Air University and National Defense University. General Gingrich has exhibited outstanding leadership throughout his lengthy service to our nation. He serves as a role model and an inspiration to us all, but especially to the young men and women who are following in his career path. We are honored by his presence and very grateful to welcome him to deliver our commissioning speech and commissioning oath today. So please join me in welcoming General Carl Gingrich to our commissioning ceremony today.
Okay, there's a number of speeches up here. I hope I grab mine. If not, it could get awkward for a few minutes. It's okay, Marines, you're allowed to smile. It's okay. I won't tell anybody you're looking right at me, okay? Good afternoon to our distinguished guests. I think a couple of them are here. I can't pick them out of a crowd, but I'm going to go through a couple. Lieutenant General Francis Donovan, Vice Commander of the U.S. Special Operations Command. Frank, if you're here, good to be with you. Lieutenant General James Bierman, United States Marine Corps retired, the 47th Commandant of the Corps of Cadets at Texas A&M and VMI class of 1987. Brigadier General Edward Lewis, Wyoming National Guard Land Component Commander and VMI class of 2002. Brigadier General Terry Dunick, U.S. Air Force retired, Commandant of the Corps for the Virginia Women's Institute for Leadership at Mary Baldwin University. Rear Admiral John Vann, Commander, Coast Guard Cyber Command, and Chief Master Sergeant John Bentavenia, Chief Master Sergeant of the Space Force. Thank you all for being here. There's probably one who is even more important than that, and that is Mr. Jack Moran. Did Mr. Moran make it here today? I know he's coming to the pinning ceremony, but Mr. Moran, if you have a chance to meet him, there we go. Sir, thank you very much. Mr. Moran is a young 100-year-old World War II veteran. If that didn't give you goosebumps, you are likely dead. He served in Kilo Company, 347th Infantry during World War II, and he's here today to honor one of your commissionees. Good afternoon to all the family members, friends, cadre here to witness today's joint commissioning ceremony, the deans, the provosts, the presidents, the superintendents, so many different titles I had lost track. Thanks to my good friend, Cedric Wins. He has probably imparted a legacy on all of the armed services that very few general officers will ever have the chance to do regardless of their career. I think he's done a great job leading this organization, and as I look across this crowd of commissionees, I just want to say, Cedric, well done. It's an honor and a privilege to have the opportunity to address the commissioning officers from one of our nation's senior military colleges and the nation's top producer of officers outside of the federal service academies. Since its inception in 1839, VMI has demonstrated a strong tradition of producing citizen soldiers and leaders of character. The statistics speak for themselves. This institution has produced nearly 300 general and flag officers, 7 Medal of Honor recipients, 11 Rhodes Scholars, and 1 Nobel Prize winner. Additionally, VMI graduates have proven to be leaders of consequence in industry and within state and federal government. To the cadets and cadre of the Virginia Military Institute, thank you for the honor of allowing me to share in today's events and getting out of the Pentagon for a brief stay. This is a special day where we celebrate a seminal event in the lives of these 167 cadets from VMI who will take the oath of office and commission as second lieutenants in the United States Army, Air Force, and Marines, and ensigns in the United States Navy and Coast Guard. And from the Headquarters Department of the Army G8 family, I'd like to acknowledge one cadet in particular. His father works for me. I told him I would embarrass him suitably. So Owen McCaffrey, please stand up. I didn't know you were a rock star. Or you are now. Go ahead, sit down, Owen. I think you're suitably embarrassed. Owen's father's standing right back there. He works for me in Headquarters Department of the Army, G8, and today Owen will commission as a second lieutenant, branching in infantry. Congratulations, Owen. Well done. Welcome to the team. More importantly, welcome and thank you to the friends and families of today's honorees. Your participation makes this ceremony more special and underscores the importance of family in our chosen profession, and I'll talk a little bit about that later. To our honorees and soon-to-be lieutenants and ensigns, I'm exceptionally proud of all of you. And I genuinely appreciate the dedication, commitment, and determination that brought you to this point. Those characteristics will be essential to your future success, and they will be tried and tested time and time again. You may not realize it, but you are about to join a rather selective portion of our society. A mere 23% of our nation's young adults are physically, legally, or educationally eligible for military service. All told, less than 1% of our nation's population has the honor of currently serving in military uniform. All branches in service, active and reserve, less than 1%. All volunteers, vanguards of our freedoms and way of life, envied by our nation's friends and allies, and feared by enemies, tyrants, and oppressors worldwide. Of that proportionally small force, only 18% represent the commissioned officer corps, which you are about to enter, charged with competently and confidently leading and caring for our nation's finest sons and daughters, training them, sharing hardship, instilling discipline and esprit de corps, and most importantly, providing them with a visible example of positive personal character. Even more impressive is the fact that most of our current force, to include the fine cadets who would join the officer corps today, made a conscious, deliberate decision to volunteer for military service in a time of known, persistent conflict and dangerous resurgence of great power competition. You selflessly stepped forward with the full understanding that you will likely be placed in harm's way during your tenure of service. The strategic landscape is considerably different and arguably more volatile than when I was a young cadet. The all-volunteer force that you will lead is incredibly diverse, increasingly reflecting the cross-section and richness of our very nation. Yet, despite this diversity, we all share a common foundation. We all begin our service by swearing an oath. In very few minutes, you will be swearing that oath for the first time. An oath not to a man, not to a flag, but a solemn oath to the ideals and principles that cannot be killed, trampled, or defaced. Ideals and principles that are held firmly in the hearts and minds of our collective citizenry. Our service members, to include those being commissioned today, honor that oath and our nation through their sustained sacrifice, determination, and courage. As Americans, we do not have a deed on liberty. We only have a lease that must be renewed by every generation, a lease underwritten today by these exceptional aspiring leaders. So, what now? What will be expected of you? A lot. You are now part of an honored vocation whose lineage began 250 years ago, predates the establishment of this great country, and our struggle for liberation of our own nation, and one that has spanned both generations and the globe. For 2.5 centuries, every generation of our U.S. military has faced challenges. In the eyes of many, those you will face are uniquely complex and daunting. The scourge of extremism continues to spread and increasingly undermine stability in the Middle East, Africa, and Central and East Asia. Iran's aspirations and axis of resistance in the Gulf region threaten to spur a major regional conflict. North Korea remains unpredictable and extremely dangerous as an existential threat to millions in the region. Russia is in decline economically, demographically, fueling desperate and dangerous opportunism, which we have watched unfold for the last several years in Ukraine. China, on the other hand, is on the rise. And as a growing world power and clearly aspiring regional hegemon, is increasingly in conflict with the interests of its neighbors, many of whom are our allies and partners, and is expanding actions beyond competition to challenge U.S. influence directly. And to our south, economic strife, transnational criminal organizations, and growing political conflict all conspire to fuel instability. All of this atop our enduring, innumerable global commitments. Although we have an exceptionally poor record of accurately predicting the future, I believe it is reasonable to assume that you will lead our young service members in turbulent and challenging times. You will demonstrate strength and compassion as you and those you lead contribute personally to the victories and the triumphs, and very likely bear witness to the tragic human toll of armed conflict. You will experience firsthand the very best and the very worst of humanity. You and those you lead will sacrifice greatly, and some may fall valiantly by the side of their comrades, yet steadfast, resolute, determined, undaunted by the stark reality of your chosen vocation, you will embrace the challenge and you will lead with courage. You will set the example of quiet professionalism, skilled, confident, and unflappable, but also self-effacing and humble. You will shun the limelight and defer credit to your subordinates. And despite that humble underpinning, you will have plenty of reason to be proud. You and those you lead will thrive where few are capable and fewer still have the courage to even try. You will endure where most lack the character and determination to persist. You will voluntarily relinquish many of the very rights you protect. You will steer clear of domestic politics and growing polarization and stay above the fray. And in all things, you will be held to a higher standard of conduct by not only the military regulation and culture, but also by the citizens you serve. And I am confident that you will meet their expectations. By doing so, you will contribute not only to defending our nation, but also to sustaining the nation's confidence in our armed forces, the single institution consistently and overwhelmingly most admired and trusted by the citizenry of our great nation. Trust that is foundational to our very existence. Trust that is ours to lose. This may sound overwhelming, but as General Wynne said, you're ready. And you are armed for success, and VMI has done that for you. You understand the profession of arms. You embrace the profession of arms. You know what it means to be a leader of character and the importance of standards and discipline. You will remain current and relevant through personal dedication and self-study. You will be introspective. You will seek criticism, and you will adapt and grow. And you will set the conditions for those around you to do the same. Your chosen vocation is not a solitary undertaking. Your duty will take you and your families across the breadth of our great nation and to the far-flung corners of our globe. Both your burden and your accomplishments will be shared with your families, parents, spouses, children, siblings, all who will endure with you. The lonely holidays and missed special occasions, the uncertainty when you're inevitably in harm's way, the vagabond lifestyle. And who will also enjoy with you the unique experiences and the camaraderie of military service and military families. There is nothing in the world stronger than a military family. Without the support and sacrifice of our magnificent families, our armed forces could not endure, and our national security would falter. And for that, I just want to thank all the families, friends that are here honoring these commissionees. Thank you. In closing, I'd like to pose a final question to you. Given the rigors and the hazards of this vocation that I've outlined, why have you chosen to serve? Think about it. I dare not attempt to speak for you, nor any other in uniform. But from a personal perspective, I need not look further than my children, or to any other children for that matter. I believe that I am, and you are, part of an honorable institution, an institution that is necessary, an institution that can be wielded justly and wisely to defend our liberties, defeat tyranny, and relieve oppression and strife. I believe that you and I must be prepared to do the difficult things now so our children may not have to, so that their future, their world, may be better than ours. I also believe that no one prays for peace more fervently or passionately than service members. But when called upon, we will act. We must, and we will. Like many of you here, those who serve in uniform and those who have served, I am often inspired by words of old sages and wise leaders. Among my favorites, my very personal favorite, are the thoughts of a particularly insightful gentleman who lived during troubled times many, many centuries ago. You can find it in Isaiah chapter 6, verse 8. Then I heard the voice of the Lord saying, "Whom shall I send? And who will go for us?" And I said, "Here I am, send me." May God bless our nation, our service members, and our families. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been my honor. Thank you very much. Okay, commissionees, please rise. Raise your right hand, repeat after me. I state your name. Having been appointed an officer, do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office on which I'm about to enter. So help me God. Congratulations, cadets.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, Major General Wins will present a token of appreciation to our guest speaker, Lieutenant General Gingrich, in recognition of his inspiring remarks and distinguished service. At this time, please remain standing for the playing of the Armed Forces Medley and remain standing for the departure of the stage party. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the joint commissioning ceremony. Please join us at the individual ROTC pin-on ceremonies immediately following. The Army ceremony will be conducted at Marshall Hall, the Center for Leadership and Ethics. Navy and Marine Corps will be conducted in Cameron Hall. The Air Force will be located at the Memorial Hall. The Coast Guard will be located at the Memorial Gardens. Please move quickly to these locations to celebrate with your newly commissioned officers.